She's dying. The doctors say 48 hours, maybe less. And somehow after 6 years of absolute silence, after building entire walls between us, I'm the only one who can save her life. You won't believe how we got here. How a love story that seemed perfect turned into years of painful silence, and how fate decided that I would hold her life in my hands right at the final moment. Stay with me, because what happens in the next 48 hours will change everything, and the choice I have to make will haunt you long after this story ends. My phone buzzed at 3 in the morning. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Something made me pick up. A woman's voice, professional, clinical. She said she was calling from St. Catherine's Hospital. She said a name I hadn't heard spoken aloud in 6 years. Emma Rodriguez. My heart stopped. The nurse explained that Emma was in critical condition, kidney failure, and they had run out of options. Her family had given them my contact information because, and this is where my world tilted sideways, I was a genetic match. A rare match. The only match they could find who could donate and save her life. 6 years. 6 entire years without a single word between us. No texts, no calls, no accidental run-ins, even though we lived in the same city. We had mastered the art of avoiding each other, and now this stranger on the phone was telling me that Emma, the woman I had loved more than breathing itself, the woman who walked away from me without explanation, was lying in a hospital bed dying, and I was her only chance at survival. The nurse asked if I could come to the hospital to discuss the procedure. I said yes before my brain could catch up with my mouth. I hung up and sat in the dark of my apartment, hands shaking, trying to process what I had just agreed to consider. Emma was dying. Emma needed me. Emma, who had destroyed me so completely that it took 3 years just to feel human again. We met in college, sophomore year, in the most forgettable way possible. A random Tuesday morning literature class where she sat 2 rows ahead of me. I noticed her handwriting first, the way she filled her notebook margins with tiny drawings of flowers and stars. Then I noticed everything else, the way she tilted her head when she was thinking. The small smile she got when the professor said something clever. How she always brought coffee in a bright yellow travel mug that seemed too cheerful for 8 a.m. classes. It took me 4 weeks to talk to her, 4 weeks of rehearsing conversations in my head and chickening out at the last second. Then one day she dropped her books, papers everywhere, and I helped her pick them up. She looked at me with these incredible brown eyes and said thank you, and I was done for, completely gone. We got coffee after class. Then coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into dinner. Dinner turned into staying up until 4 in the morning talking about everything and nothing. Within 2 months, we were inseparable. Emma made the world feel bigger and smaller at the same time. Bigger because she saw possibilities everywhere, adventure in the ordinary, magic in the mundane. Smaller because when I was with her, nothing else mattered. The whole universe condensed down to just us, just that moment, just her laugh, or her hand in mine, or the way she said my name. We dated for 4 years. 4 years that felt like both forever and not nearly long enough. Everyone said we were perfect together. Her friends, my friends, our families. We finished each other's sentences. We had inside jokes that made no sense to anyone else. We talked about marriage, about kids, about growing old together in some house with a big yard and a dog named something ridiculous. Then she left. No warning, no explanation that made any sense. She just said she couldn't do this anymore, that she needed to figure herself out, that loving me wasn't enough. I begged her to talk to me, to tell me what I had done wrong, to give me a chance to fix whatever was broken. She cried and said some things can't be fixed, some things just are, and she walked out of my apartment and out of my life. I tried everything to get answers. I called, I texted, I showed up at her place. She blocked me, changed her number, moved apartments. Her friends said she had asked them not to talk about her with me. It was like she had decided to erase me completely, and she executed that plan with surgical precision. Eventually I had to accept that she was gone and she wasn't coming back, and I would never understand why. The grief almost killed me. I'm not being dramatic. There were months where I wasn't sure I wanted to keep going. Everything reminded me of her. Every song, every restaurant, every street corner held some memory that would gut me all over again. My friends tried to help, my family tried to help, therapy helped eventually, time helped eventually. But there was always this hole, this Emma-shaped absence that never quite healed. I rebuilt my life, got a better job, made new friends, dated other people, though none of those relationships ever felt quite right. I convinced myself I was over her, that I had moved on, that the past was the past. I was lying to myself, but I was good at it. Good enough that most days I almost believed it. And now here I was, sitting in a hospital waiting room at 4 a.m, waiting to talk to doctors about giving Emma one of my kidneys. The absurdity wasn't lost on me. The cruelty of it felt almost intentional, like the universe had a sick sense of humor. The doctor who met with me was kind. Dr. Patel, early 50s, exhausted eyes but a gentle manner. She explained Emma's condition in terms I barely understood. Kidney failure, dialysis not working, transplant list, but her blood type and antibody profile made finding a match nearly impossible. They had tested family members, friends, even put out calls for volunteer donors. Nothing. Then they found old medical records that showed I had been tested years ago for something unrelated, and my profile popped as a potential match. They ran more tests with my stored samples. Perfect match. Like our bodies were made for each other, even if our lives weren't. Dr. Patel explained the surgery, the risks, the recovery. She emphasized that this was my choice, that I shouldn't feel pressured, that they would support whatever decision I made. She also said, very carefully, that without a transplant soon, Emma would die. Days, not weeks. I asked if I could see her. Dr. Patel hesitated, then nodded and led me through fluorescent hallways that all looked the same to a room at the end of a quiet corridor. Emma looked so small in that hospital bed. She was always small, barely 5'3", but now she looked fragile in a way that terrified me. Her skin had a grayish tint. Tubes and wires connected her to machines that beeped and hummed. Her hair, still that same dark brown I used to run my fingers through, was pulled back in a messy bun. She was asleep or unconscious, I couldn't tell. I stood in the doorway and just looked at her. 6 years collapsed into nothing. I was 23 again, watching her sleep in my apartment after we had stayed up all night talking. I was 25 again, kissing her goodnight after a perfect date. I was 27 again, watching her walk away and knowing I would never be the same. Dr. Patel touched my shoulder gently and said I could take some time. She left me there. I walked into the room slowly, like Emma might disappear if I moved too fast. I sat in the chair next to her bed. Up close I could see how sick she really was. The dark circles under her eyes, how thin she had gotten, the way her breathing seemed labored even with oxygen support. I wanted to be angry. Part of me was angry. She had thrown away what we had, refused to give me any explanation, cut me out of her life so completely that I had spent years wondering if I had imagined how good we were together, and now she needed me. Now, when she was dying, suddenly I mattered again. The unfairness of it made my chest tight. But sitting there, watching her struggle to breathe, all I felt was scared. Scared of losing her for real this time. Scared that I might be too angry or too hurt to do the right thing. Scared that saving her life might destroy mine all over again. Her eyes opened slowly. For a second she looked confused, trying to place where she was. Then her gaze found me, and I watched recognition hit her like a physical blow. Her eyes went wide. Her hand moved weakly toward the call button, like she wanted to get the nurses to remove me. I spoke before she could. I said I knew about the kidney, about the match, about the choice I had to make. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Emma stared at me. Then tears started rolling down her face, silent and steady. She whispered that she was sorry, that she never wanted this, that I should just go. Tell me honestly, would you save someone who broke your heart like that? Someone who left you without real answers and then disappeared from your life? Leave your answer in the comments, because this gets even more complicated. I didn't leave. I pulled the chair closer. I told her we needed to talk, really talk, before I could make any decision. She owed me that much. Emma closed her eyes and more tears came. She said she knew that I deserved answers, that she had been a coward. Then she started talking, and finally, after 6 years, I understood. Emma had gotten sick during our last year together. Small symptoms at first that she ignored. Fatigue, nausea, some pain. She thought it was stress from school and work. By the time she saw a doctor, her kidneys were already failing. Genetic condition, they said. Progressive and irreversible. She would need a transplant eventually, probably sooner than later. She hadn't told me. She made the decision, alone in some doctor's office, that she wouldn't drag me into her medical nightmare. We were 27, talking about marriage and futures and forever. She couldn't ask me to sign up for a life of hospital visits and surgeries and maybe watching her die young. So she left. She made up an excuse that had nothing to do with the truth, and she walked away thinking she was protecting me from years of pain. I sat there processing this. 6 years of confusion and hurt suddenly recontextualized. She had left because she loved me, or at least that's what she had told herself. She had made a decision for both of us without giving me a choice, and that decision had cost us everything. I asked her why she didn't just tell me the truth back then, why she didn't let me decide if I wanted to stay. Emma said she knew what I would have said, that I would have insisted on staying, on helping, on going through it together, and she couldn't let me sacrifice my 20s and maybe my 30s to take care of her. She thought she was being selfless. She thought she was doing the right thing. The anger came back then, hot and sharp. I told her she had no right to make that choice for me, that by trying to protect me, she had hurt me worse than any disease could have, that I had spent years blaming myself, wondering what I had done wrong, thinking I wasn't enough. She sobbed and said she knew, that she had realized too late how badly she had messed up, that she had wanted to reach out so many times, but convinced herself I was better off without her. We sat in that hospital room and had 6 years of conversations compressed into an hour. I told her about the therapy, about the depression, about how long it took to feel normal again. She told me about the dialysis, about the failed treatments, about watching her body slowly give up. We both cried. We both said things we had needed to say for years. Then I asked her what she wanted from me now. Did she expect me to save her? Did she think I owed her that? Emma shook her head weakly. She said her family had given the hospital my information without asking her first. She never wanted to put me in this position. If I wanted to walk away, she would understand. She said she had made peace with dying, or at least she was trying to. I left the hospital as the sun was coming up. I didn't give Emma an answer because I didn't have one. I went home and sat on my couch and stared at the wall for hours. My phone rang. My family, Emma's family, the hospital. I ignored all of it. The thing about being the only person who can save someone's life is that it's not really a choice, not in the way choices usually are. If I walked away and let Emma die, I would have to live with that forever. Even if I thought she deserved it, even if the anger and hurt felt justified, could I really let her die when I had the power to save her? But saving her wasn't simple either. The surgery had risks. The recovery would take months. And even if everything went perfectly medically, what then? Would we try to rebuild what we had? Could I ever trust her again after what she did? Could I spend the rest of my life with someone who thought leaving was better than fighting, who made major decisions without me? I called Dr. Patel that evening. I said I would do it. I would donate the kidney. But I needed Emma to understand something first. I needed her to know that I was doing this because I was a decent human being who couldn't let someone die when I could help, not because I forgave her or because we were getting back together. This was medical, not romantic. Dr. Patel said she understood and would pass the message along. They scheduled the surgery for 36 hours later. I had a day and a half to prepare physically and mentally to give up an organ to the woman who destroyed me. The surgery went well, all things considered. I woke up in recovery feeling like I had been hit by a truck. The pain was significant but manageable. The nurses said I was lucky, that the procedure had gone smoothly, that Emma's body was accepting the kidney. They said I had saved her life. I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. Emma was 2 floors up in a different wing. I didn't visit her. She didn't visit me. We existed in the same building, connected by the organ I had given her, but separated by 6 years and a million complicated feelings. My family visited. They said I had done an incredible thing, that I should be proud. Emma's family sent flowers and a card thanking me. I felt numb to all of it. I had saved Emma's life, but I had no idea what that meant for mine. They discharged me with instructions for recovery and follow-up appointments. As I was leaving, I saw Emma's mother in the lobby. She rushed over, crying, thanking me over and over. She said Emma was doing well, getting stronger every day, that the kidney was working perfectly. She said Emma wanted to talk to me when I was ready. I went home and focused on healing, physical therapy, pain management, slowly getting back to normal life. Friends asked how I was feeling. I said fine. They asked if I had talked to Emma. I said no. They didn't push. 6 weeks after the surgery, Emma texted me. First contact she had initiated in 6 years. She said thank you, that she knew those words weren't enough, but she didn't know what else to say. She said she was doing well, that the kidney was working, that I had given her a second chance at life. She said if I ever wanted to talk, she would be there, but she understood if I never wanted to see her again. I didn't respond. I read the message maybe 100 times over the next few days, but I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to see her, to know that she was really okay, to get closure or understanding or something. Part of me wanted to delete her number and never think about her again. 3 months post-surgery, I ran into her at a coffee shop. Complete accident. I was picking up my usual order and turned around, and there she was, looking healthier than I had seen her in that hospital room. Color back in her face, eyes bright and alive. She saw me at the same moment. We both froze. She walked over slowly, asked if she could buy me a coffee, if we could talk for a few minutes. I said yes before I could overthink it. We sat at a corner table, and the conversation was awkward at first. Small talk about recovery, about work, about nothing important. Then Emma said she had been going to therapy, working through why she had made the choices she made, understanding how her fear had hurt both of us. She said she didn't expect forgiveness. She didn't expect us to get back together or be friends or anything. She just wanted me to know that she had spent 6 years regretting her decision, that leaving me was the biggest mistake of her life, and that my kidney wasn't just keeping her alive physically, but had given her a chance to become a better person who didn't run away from hard things. I listened. I told her I was glad she was doing better, that I was glad the surgery worked, but that I still didn't know how to process everything. How do you move forward when the person you loved most destroyed you to protect you? How do you rebuild trust with someone who decided your feelings didn't matter as much as her fear? Emma nodded. She said she understood. She gave me her new number and said, whenever I was ready, if I was ever ready, she would be there to talk or listen or whatever I needed. Then she left, and I sat in that coffee shop feeling like I had just been hit by an emotional truck. That was 8 months ago. Emma and I have been slowly, carefully rebuilding something. Not a relationship, not yet, maybe never, but we talk sometimes. We get coffee occasionally. We're learning who we are now, not who we were 6 years ago. She's learning to communicate instead of running. I'm learning to trust again, or at least trying to. The kidney is working perfectly. Emma is healthy and thriving. She started a non-profit helping people navigate the organ donation system. She says that what happened to us, as painful as it was, taught her that running from fear only creates more pain, and now she wants to help others not make her mistakes. Do I love her still? I think part of me never stopped. Do I trust her? I'm working on it. Will we get back together? I have no idea. Some days it feels possible. Some days it feels impossible. We're taking it one conversation at a time, one coffee date at a time, one day at a time. What I know for sure is this. Love is complicated. People make terrible decisions for what they think are good reasons. Sometimes saving someone's life means sacrificing part of yourself, and sometimes the hardest choice is not whether to save someone, but what to do after you already have.